I'm on my slightly strange aperture, or whatever it's called. So you've got a nice angle for the whole room. I've got my door open, but I've WD-40'd it now, so it shouldn't creak. And I've asked the neighbours to turn their radio off. If you're watching this, neighbours. So I'm just going to get a bit closer. Oh, you can see my lovely pink face. Hello, whoever's there. Say hello if you're there. What's so funny about my hair? Hello, Kim Holmes. So we're doing a somatic class today. We're doing the trauma reflex in our somatic class, which is where you have a short waist muscle on one side, gives you a bit of a limp, tilt, sciatica, neck problems. So we're looking at that today. So as usual, I do the first 10 minutes where I show you what we're doing. And then the rest of the sort of 45 minutes after that is on the floor doing some work. But today we're going to start with some neck moves. So we haven't sat up and done neck moves for a long time in my classes. So I thought it'd be nice, as my neck's playing up a little bit from all the writing and editing stuff that I've been doing, that we do some neck moves to remind you that you can do somatic neck movements. You can just do it sitting in a chair. You don't always have to lie down and do somatics. It's not about that. We do the somatics on the floor because we're trying to slow our nervous system down, meditate within it, so be mindful within it and slow everything down so that the messages get to the brain more quickly. But you can still do somatics calmly and quietly sitting in a chair. There's all sorts of adaptations you can do. So what I'll do is I'll go through the floor moves that we're going to do today. And then we'll come back, we'll sit for a bit, we'll do the neck moves, and then we'll go to lying down and do the scan first. So we are going to be doing the trauma reflex. So we need to get involved with the diagonal movements across the body. We need to get involved with some twisting around the waist and some, what else do we need to do? Yeah, so those things really, twisting and some lengthening down the sides. They're our main aims today. So the first things we're going to do are going to be within the arch and curl. So when we're lying down, we'll be in our arch and curl position. You can see me. Slide down a bit, which is with our feet up. We're going to do our usual arch and curl. Just put my hands here so you can see what's going on. Usual arch and curl. And then we're going to work into our diagonal like we did yesterday. And we'll either do that with arms reaching across, or you'll do it with your wide chest arm. So, and then eventually we'll bring the knee up. So I will talk you all through this when we do it. We'll bring the knee up, and eventually what we'll do is we will slide the leg away and reach the arm into the corner of the room. Yeah, so we're going to do this kind of movement to get that diagonal arch and curl going on. We'll do that both sides. So that's our first lying move. And then we're going to get into our leg movement, and that's going to be lengthening the side of our bottoms, lengthening our waist, lengthening our lower backs. So that will be taking the knee to opposite big toe, across the midline, without an arch and curl. So that will be our next move. And because we want to get some twisting, what we're going to do with the upper body is our steeple that we haven't done for a little while. So our steeple is where we brace our arms together quite strongly, drop the shoulders down, or if you've got shoulder problems, you just let go a bit through the arms, and then we take our arms side to side, turning our head with the movement. It's a bit stronger if you have your arms up here, but you're making this movement come from the chest, and then you're making it come from the waist. So this is the one we're going to do for the upper body. So we've twisted through a lower body, twisted through the upper body, and then we'll do our human X, which is where we reach out everything into the corner of the rooms. And then we reach our arms away, and then we start reaching our legs on the same side away. So we start getting this rocking motion through the hips, so the hips coming to the ear through the waist, and the rib cage is going down towards the hips. So we get a shortening on one side and a nice lengthening on the other side. Then we're going to turn over, if we've got lots of time, which we will have, and we'll do our side front lying, head twisted to the side, lifting. So we're getting some nice diagonal engagement across the back. Swap sides, lift with our legs, and we'll modify those to be just squeezing the bottom or looking down at the floor, so they'll be adapted. And then we will do our fishtail. So we haven't done that for a while, and that just involves lying on our sides, knees up, And then just gently opening the elbows, opening the chest, which should be nice and open anyway from all the earlier work. And then eventually bringing the feet up at the same time, squeezing into the side and then opening on the diagonal. So we're going to get some nice lengthening diagonally and into the waist, the lower back, and that'll be our last move. We might have time for the wash rag, we might not, just depends on where we get to. So if you're watching this for the first time, then I would take it slowly. The diagonal arch and curl is quite a not advanced move, but it's quite something you have to sort of coordinate and build up to. So you might want to go back and look at some of the earlier week stuff where I sort of explain a bit more. We do less, or maybe watch a red light reflex video, or go and do the 7-day challenge that's on the Facebook page. That would be a good thing to learn how to do some of these moves one at a time and do it in your own time, and then build up to a class. On the 7-day challenge videos, it builds up to a class, and there's a class on there, an audio class, so you can just lie on the floor and hear me talk through the moves you've already seen and been practicing. So the door's open. I'm going to get flies in here, so you might see me swatting about, but it's very warm in here to not have the door open. Okay, so we've got a couple of minutes. Any questions, anything anybody wants to ask me, great, let me know. Otherwise you can email me or message me on here for any questions, anything you want answered, anything you're not sure about, any somatic moves you want explained, any ailments you have that you need sorting out, you think I might be able to help you with, specific moves, and any other things that involve body alignment, because I don't just do somatics. Yes, lots of exercises I could talk to you about. My friend was doing some knee exercises while she was talking to me on WhatsApp the other day with a video, and I said, where did you get those? She said, from a video online. I said, well, why didn't you just get in touch with me? I could have talked you through them. So anyway, let me just, my battery is very low, let me just plug that in and then we'll get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is our neck moves. Let me sort my hair out. It's doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things in this lockdown, my hair. I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, so we're going to do some neck moves. That's the first thing we're going to do. So you'll need a chair or you need to sit on the floor. I'm sitting in a yoga pose called Vajrasana. So it's quite comfortable for a little while, not for long. So I'm going to, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cushion in between my bottom and my knees to change the angle up a little bit, and then let me just move those out of the way. So all that's going to happen is you're going to sit with your hands on your lap, whether you're sitting in a chair or you're sitting on the floor. Probably not best to sit cross-legged unless you can get your hands. You might be able to comfortably get your hands on your thighs and just leave them there. You just want to take the weight out of the shoulders, roll the shoulders up and back, let them drop down. So we are going to do a scan after this. If anybody comes and joins in, somebody's watching. If anybody comes and joins in, then know that we're just sitting here for 5 minutes just doing some neck movements, so you know how to do somatic neck movements around your neck. So somatics is just very slow movements done in a way that you shorten the muscle into a tight muscle and then you lengthen it out very slowly so it gets the message, all the signals go to the brain in a very calm, controlled way, and it realizes that it's okay to lengthen and be retrained into its full potential rather than stretched into it and then kind of always coming back and never staying fully stretched. So here we go. So all we're going to do is very predictable neck movements, but done very slowly. So all you're going to do is very gently just taking your head side to side. So don't stretch this. Just gently move your head side to side. So my range is a little bit limited. Try and keep your shoulders rolled back and then drop down. My neck movement's limited because I've been sitting in a red light position a lot of today doing my edits again. So you're just very slowly going side to side. What you'll start noticing is that gets easier, it gets longer. You don't get to the same stopping point without stretching. So I'm just doing it very slowly. I'm not letting any pain happen. I'm not forcing anything, I'm not stretching anything. Just going very slowly side to side. So already I can feel that lengthening. Try and keep your jaw soft. Obviously I'm talking, so mine's not as soft as it could be. If you're really struggling, change the position of your neck, of your chin. Take it down a little bit or take it up a little bit, and you'll find that you come away from pain. You slow it right down. I'm going quite fast, so for somatics. So we're just going to do a couple more of this one. There's a few to do, so we're going to get a few in. Some of you might hardly be moving at all. You might be going kind of a millimetre side to side if you've got really tight neck muscles. So we're rest in the middle. We're just take a couple of breaths. And the next thing we're going to do is just take chin to chest. It may not get that far. It's just forward and back very gently. Not forcing into any pain. Kind of semi-tuck the chin in as you go, rather than taking it forward and down. Very slow, very slow. So I can feel a little bit of pulling in the back of my neck, having a little bit of resistance. I'm going to make it even smaller when I go back so I don't tighten too much into that muscle without it hurting. Already that stopped, so that's good. He said, oh, you're doing it lightly, I'll lengthen. Forward and back. So we do it, our first instinct is to stretch our neck if it's sore. So we might sit there pulling our head or pushing our neck or trying to click things, but if you do this very gently, I haven't got any clicking. So we'll do it one more time each way and then let go. So you might have clicking, you might be clicking away there, that's okay, but it'll get less and less if you do it gently and carefully. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our ear to our shoulder and squeeze the shoulder up gently. So the shoulder comes up to meet the ear. So I'm just doing the left side to start with. My shoulders are still back slightly, or just check that you've rounded them back and let them come down again. And then I'm just going to take my ear to my shoulder, meet it gently. It doesn't have to go anywhere near it. You're just doing a little lift and controlling that shoulder down. Don't let it drop down. Left ear to left shoulder. You might get very close, you might not. Mind your the opposite side, that that's not hurting, the right side of the neck or anywhere else. We're just doing this very gently and slowly. I've got full control of my shoulder, it's not dropping down. If it starts dropping down, I've probably gone too high. I'm doing it too quickly. I'll be squeezing it right up and then it will bounce all the way down or just drop because you haven't got control of it. That's what we're trying to get, so that we don't get any jolty movements that startles the nervous system. And it goes into guarding and that causes you pain because it's telling you to stop moving. I'm going to do 2 more on that side. And rest. And I'm going to go to the other side. So a couple of breaths doing nothing. And then we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder. Very gently check out that it's okay. It's a little bit more bouncy on this side, so I'm not going to go very high. I want to make sure that control and pain-free and slow are the 3 things that I'm looking at. There's no competition, there's no sort of getting this higher and higher in a hurry. You'll find the benefits are better to just keep it small. The goal is not to make it longer. The goal is to let that happen without you even noticing, really. So I've got full control over that right shoulder. My right shoulder has been just kind of out of shape for years, just not quite right, so it'll have its little temperamental moments. So I know that I have to watch it for a little while and then it goes, all right then. Last two on the right. It's already getting bigger and more controlled. Can squeeze up higher. And then rest in the middle, let go. Stop what you're doing, don't do anything, just breathe. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is a figure of 8. So we're going to start a little bit bigger than you think, because we're going to go smaller. So I just want you to get the movement. So the movement is kind of up and down with a slight forward and back. So an up and down and a forward and back, very slightly. And then I want you to try and make that smaller, and try and make it the smallest you could possibly make it. You might need to pull your chin in a little bit. You might need to tilt the chin down a little bit. I want you to get it to the point where you hardly notice the movement. If somebody was looking at you, they'd hardly notice. So keeping it tiny. People watching this think I'm doing nothing, possibly. And then you start building out. So you've got the initial movement. You didn't do it too big. And then you start moving out, making it a bit bigger. Feels nice, doesn't it, when you do it really small? You can investigate making it bigger. If it starts hurting or starts jolting or pulling or bouncing, then you know you've gone too far. Keep your jaw soft. Keep your arms rested, hands rested, so your shoulders are not fully dangling. See, I've got no clicking now, which is great. I was clicking away earlier when I was practicing this. And I only did it for a couple of minutes. So if you do it in a small way for a short amount of time, you're going to get quite big results. So I can get quite big now. And they're going at all angles. And we're just going to do a couple more. You can slow it down. I'm going quite quickly, so if you're watching me, slow yours right down. And then I'm going to stop. Just rest there. So I've got 2 more to do before we lie down. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our chin to our armpit. So we're going to go down to the left first. So we're going to take chin to armpit very gently, make sure nothing's hurting, and then we go up on a diagonal away from that, looking over our right shoulder. Then we come back, so it's a diagonal sort of tracing of a line through the air. Keep your jaw soft. Feel that engagement of those muscles. They're going, what are you doing? But this is great if you have to turn around suddenly. Those muscles have got all the right signals. You can do this lifting the chin, but we're not going to do that lifting the shoulder at the same time. We're not going to do that today. And you can change the angle of things. You can do this in lots of different ways. Moving the shoulders back, forward. Making more of an arc through the air. Do the chin down. But we're just trying to do a diagonal line because we're going to work diagonally today generally. So if you were watching this, you would have seen that my movement's got quite big now, without much effort. So we're going to do 2 more. And then we're going to rest in the middle, gently come back to the middle. Couple of breaths, doing nothing, as ever. And then we're going to take our chin down to the right shoulder. If you're watching this, it probably looks a bit odd. I'm going the opposite way. So I have to start out small again. Just breathing gently. Don't stop breathing when you're concentrating. I open my eyes occasionally just to check that I'm still live, nothing's happened. Oh, a cat's joined us, that's nice. Squeaking. You're going to distract people. Just seeing how wide that's getting. Now the cat's going to destroy my yoga mat. Hey, this is the last one. And then bring your head back to the centre. Tuck your chin in just a little bit, lengthen the back of your neck. And then let go. Couple of breaths doing nothing. And then we're going to go into our body scan. So I might have to move the cat for my body scan. She's taken over. He, not she, that was he. It's the black and white one. Good boy. Come on then. Let's see what he does when I do this. So let's get ourselves into our body scan position. Oh, my neck feels nice. Lengthening down, letting go. Try, if you're watching this, try not to get distracted by the cat. It's going to sit on my head. Might shoo him away. I don't really want his bottom in my face. So resting down, check out the sides of your body. So let's have a scan from the side of the ankles, up each side of the legs, go up both sides, comparing. Up to the hips, the waist, the rib cage, the armpits. Check out the arms. Up into the shoulders, which you've just beautifully released, and then up into the top of the head, around the ears. And then I'd like you to just go back through the middle and the back, just checking out gently what's going on, any differences, any wonkiness side to side, any pressure areas. And then when you get down to the pelvis, just check out the inner legs, the inside of the legs. My calves are having, my calves are having a bit of a buzz from being in that kneeling position. Oh, I've got pins and needles. And then when you've done that, we're going to gently bring our legs up. Probably not going to get as much done today as I'd hoped because we've done the neck, but good to do the neck, isn't it? And then breathing gently in through the nose, out through the mouth. Cat's gone. Watch your rib expansion, watch your waist expansion. Each side, what's happening. Cat's back. Expanding down into the pelvis. And then gently, when you're feeling that breath down in the lower abdomen, tilting the pelvis forward, coming back. Tilting it forward, bowl of water on the belly would tilt forward, spill the water between your thighs down to your toes. That's the direction of our tilt. Notice what's happening in the back. Arms by the side, I just put them on my belly in case anybody's watching, wants to see which way that movement is. Just arching gently. When you feel able to, bring the shoulders in, press them gently back into the floor. We're not not curling, we're just arching. Arching just involves pressing the shoulders, back of the shoulders into the floor, sending the pelvis forward as we breathe in. This cat doesn't usually get let in this room, so she's having a good look around. He's having a good look around. He says, yes, that massage table that used to be in the front room. I found it again. Gently arching. When you already turn that into a curl, so pelvis tilting in the opposite direction, check it out. Do it in a very small way to start with. Shoulders might come forward at the same time. They may not join in to start with. Tilting gently. Hopefully you've been watching these videos and have done some of them, so you've got an idea about arch and curl. Or you come to my classes, so you know exactly what you're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start taking this into a diagonal. We're going to do left hip, right shoulder. So all that's going to happen, so this is all being, the arch and curl is going on in a very small way at the moment. Unless you're very practiced in this and it's all very smooth and it's can become quite a big movement straight away. Just make sure you've got the control like you did in the neck. And then we're going to tilt the pelvis to the left. So all that involves is just slightly tilting that bottom away from that midline arch, just feeling into that bottom a bit more on the left and pressing the right shoulder back into the floor. So you get a diagonal arch. Be very subtle probably to start with. Your pelvis might not want to tilt over to the left. Keep the knees soft, keep the feet soft. When you curl, you might just do a little lift up in the direction of the right shoulder, or you might just go back to curling back on the vertical. So you might just come back to shoulders going forward, both sides of the pelvis lifting, and then go off into the diagonal again. It's up to you. I haven't sort of looked at doing the diagonal curl. So we're just going to do a few of those. The cat wants to join in. And then we're going to go back to the centre now. So just going back to the centre, arching, curling through the centre line as you did at the start, very gently, arms by your side. They're not rolling in and out. They might be a little bit. They might be opening a little bit, but let's not worry too much about the arms. My cat's enjoying my hand just being there at the moment. And we're going to go to the right side of the pelvis, left shoulder. So start tilting off the sacrum into the right glutes, right bottom, and pressing the left shoulder back gently. So you're getting an arch diagonally. Now this is my trauma reflex side, so it's quite hard to go over to this side initially because my pelvis tilts back, so it's kind of hard to get over the rise of that pelvis. So you do it gently, subtly, carefully if you have something like that going on. Make sure you're not pushing into any pain. Might be a lot smaller on your trauma reflex side. If you don't know what the trauma reflex is, check out the 7-day videos pinned to the top of this page. So we're just arching into the right side. You might be coming back to the centre and taking both shoulders forward and tilting the pelvis towards the chin. Or you might be trying to tilt that pelvis up towards the left shoulder and just bringing the left shoulder forward. Right side might not be doing much of anything, the shoulder. Left pelvis might not be tilting very much. So all of this is very subtle because we're going to bring the knee in and then it will make it much more obvious. So let's just take that down a little bit and then just let go. So let's bring the legs down, rest into the floor. Try not to hit the cat with your knees. Do nothing. Couple of rounds of breath, doing absolutely nothing. And then we're going to bring the knees up again, same position, hip width apart. And we're going to place our hands on our tummy, on our diaphragm. My palm, my heel and my hand is just on my diaphragm. My fingers are kind of near my belly button. I've got big hands. Yours may be somewhere a bit higher up, a bit lower down. Depends where your elbows are, how wide you've taken your arms. My arms are out by about 20 degrees, 30 degrees, something like that. And then we're going to arch and curl like we just did. But all we're going to do is slide the hands across the belly as we curl. So we're arch and curling, hands going down towards the opposite pelvis. So sometimes when we do this, we hug across the abdomen, the rib cage, but this time we're curling and the hands are going down. If I kept going, they would go down and touch the opposite pelvis, the opposite pelvic bone at the front. So it might be a tight squeeze into the chest. You might not get that far, your chest might not accommodate that at the moment. That's up to you. So we're drawing the hands across the belly, squeezing into the chest. Keep the neck nice and loose, the jaw soft. And then we're going to start tilting into that left pelvis again. And then as we draw those arms across, we're going to lift the left knee and take it towards the right shoulder. Place the foot down, arch into the left pelvis, press the right shoulder back, come back, midline, lift the left knee, take it towards the opposite shoulder, reach that hand down towards the side of the leg. So we're just now doing a diagonal. You might forget about the left shoulder for a little while. It might join in when you take the arms back. Make sure you're not lifting the knee till you've got a flat back or you're already going into the curl. So I'm moving my left arm out of the way now that my brain's got that coordination of that diagonal movement. My hands sliding across my belly, my knees coming up, it's going diagonally towards my right shoulder. And then I'm going into that arch that we were doing in the first round. This is all very light, very controlled. I'm not making it into a big movement in the back. I'm not trying to force that knee towards the shoulder. I'm just taking it across towards the belly button. Not lifting my head up. I don't want to do that in this position. Just keeping it nice and small and controlled. Inner thighs engaging. Make sure it softens as you arch the pelvis out. I'm going to do 2 more. And then I'm going to let go. I'm going to lengthen my legs down, soften into the ground, do nothing. And you might carry on with those if you were doing them by yourself at home. You like that feeling of lengthening diagonally. You've got a trauma reflex, you want to play into the pelvis a bit more. You might make that a bit bigger, go on a bit longer. You might lengthen the leg down as you arch. So we're going to build up to doing the right pelvis, left shoulder. So just arch and curling gently. Hands are on my belly. I'm just sliding them across again. We want to get this diagonal chest lengthening. You could, if you wanted to, open the arms out as you arch, like we did yesterday, I think it was. As you put the back of the arms down the floor, you could just open the arms out. That's quite a nice extension. Build into an arm lengthening as well. And then we're going to start gently tilting over into the right pelvis. So I'm going to leave my right arm out straight away because I've got the idea already. Tilting the pelvis up towards that hand. And then when I'm ready, bringing the right knee up as I come to neutral, placing the foot down and then arching. So foot comes down before you arch. So breathing in, knee goes away, knee comes up on the out breath, knee goes down as you're drawing the in-breath in and arching into that right side, pressing that left shoulder down. You could open that arm out if you want to. I've moved my right arm out the way, I said, so left arm's coming down onto the floor. Could open that hand out as the pelvis tilts to the right. If you wanted to, you could look over your shoulder. The left shoulder. Get a feel for what your neck's doing. My hand's taken off through the air, it isn't sliding across my belly, so you could investigate that. That needs the chest muscles, you need to watch them, they're not hanging on too tightly. It's nice to take the pressure out, just sliding the hand across the belly. So we're going to just do a couple more of these. And then we're going to let go. Lengthen the legs down gently. So that's got into the abdominal muscles, the back muscles in a diagonal way. So we're going to work a little bit more onto the sides of the body now. So we're going to bring our legs up. Take them quite wide, so wide as the mat almost, but not outside of the mat. Or wide of your hips. Slide them away a little bit so they're not close to your bottom, and then very gently, actually I'm going to take my arms a little bit wider so my shoulders are a little bit more spread out, flatter into the floor, and then I'm going to take my right knee towards my left toe and bring it back up again. And take my left knee towards my right toe, but I'm going to keep the other knee where it is, so you're going to tilt onto the opposite pelvis. So knee goes down towards your toe. You might be pushing into your right foot a little bit. I want you to feel this around the bottom area and the side of the leg before you start looking at the waist. So you can go onto the edge of your foot a little bit. I need to take my feet a little bit wider. So you might automatically feel it twisting your waist. If your waist's not very flexible, it might not come from the waist at all. It might just come from the bottom and the thigh. So the knee is going forward and down towards the big toe. It's not just dropping towards the other knee. That other knee is staying where it is. So you have to hold it there. Don't let it move out of the way. So you have to do a bit of squeezing of the inner thigh. Once you've felt into how your outer hip feels, how your outer pelvis feels, your glutes, your bottom muscles, around the edges, around the back, how your sacrum feels, that's the middle part of the pelvis at the back. That everything's not hurting, can come back to neutral, which is your starting point. Then you could start looking at the waist and making this a little bit more about the waist movement. You can feel it lengthening up towards the shoulder. If you want to press the shoulder back into the floor for a little bit more lengthening, you can. Slow it down, let the inner thighs let go when they come back to the middle before they squeeze that knee down. And just check out, because you might find that even without you noticing that you could take that knee a bit further down by engaging the inner thigh, as long as the side's not hurting. Pelvis isn't hurting. Keeping that other knee upright. It's not dropping out the way, you have to hold it there. Just switch the inner thigh muscles on. If you look around your spine and your abdomen, you'll see what's happening there. That diagonal movement into the abdomen, releasing in the back. Try and keep your shoulders nice and soft when you start kind of getting this feeling up through the back. Because you'll probably end up rolling a little bit onto your opposite shoulder. Make sure the arms are spread out a little bit and loose. I'm going to do 2 more each side. When you've done the last 2, you've got an idea of how much your waist is letting go. And then bring your legs down gently, rest your arms, do nothing. So we're going to bring our arms into the steeple position. So bringing your knees up again, nice flat, soft back. Bring your arms up into the steeple position, intertwine the fingers, grip the fingers together, press the palms together, sink the shoulders back into the ground, back of the shoulders, shoulder blades into the ground comfortably. You might have to adjust a bit, and then keep the elbows strong. So they're gonna have a micro bend, but they're not gonna let go. So you're keeping that tension up through the arms, and then you're gonna just gently take the arms over to one side, let the head go with the arms, let the head, nose stay in line with the thumbs. Breathe in as you go to the side, breathe out as you come back again, sink the shoulders back down, and then go again. So make sure you've sunk back down into the floor before you go, rather than penduluming, if that's even a word. Feel how your waist muscles move as well. How you squeeze into one side of the chest and let go a little bit on the other side, what your shoulder blades are doing. If this is too much for you, bend the elbows a little bit and sink into more of a diamond shape. And you can make it a little bit more about the waist then. Otherwise, once you've got a measure of how your shoulders and rib cage moves, then you can start thinking about the waist and going a bit lower down, looking at that area, letting the brain see that you're concentrating on that area. Feel how you twist into the waist and the spine. Might be easier this way, it might be harder than when you did the legs. If you're struggling to keep your arms up, bring them down. Might be too strong for some of you. Through your arms, I've got tennis elbow, so, but actually it's not playing up too much in this position. So that's good. Just notice if your arms are going a bit further without any effort, softening. Letting go, feeling it around the waist, the rib cage, the lower back. Pelvis stays where it is, it doesn't tilt with you. It's square to the floor. And then we're going to do 2 more each side. Make sure you're turning your head. We don't want to concentrate on the neck muscles as well. When you're done, bring your arms down gently, open the chest gently. It's been squashed into a position, so just open them down gently. Rest the arms down, lengthen the legs down, rest into the floor, do nothing. Couple of breaths, always doing nothing. Let the nervous system take all that information. We're prepared for the next round of things. So we're going to spread our legs. I'm going to take them out into the corner of the room. So we got a nice V. And then we're going to do the same with the arms. If you can't take your arms up past 90 degrees comfortably, be rested on the floor all the way through the arms. So you can see mine are at, if you were looking at this, you'd see my arms are at 45 degrees to my, no they're not, they're 90 degrees, hang on, what are they? Anyway, they're up into the corners of the room. And then if you can't do that, bring your arms by your side and all you'll do is lift a shoulder. When I say we reach an arm, you'll lift your shoulder up to your ear, a bit like you were doing when we did the neck movements. sliding it along the floor. If you can, take your arms out, or if you can but they're a little bit too tensiony through the shoulders or under the armpits, bend the elbows a little bit. Take that tension out, but they need to be rested on the floor. They can't be floating around in the air or half up in the air, rotated. Palms should be facing to the ceiling. And then we're going to reach our left arm away, look towards that arm. So it just slides along the floor. Feel the chest muscles lengthen and then come back to the middle. Do it a couple times more, just to feel what it feels like in that area. No bouncing, don't overreach. Turn your head gently to look towards that hand. Eyes are always closed though. And then come back to the centre. And then reach the right arm away. So reaching gently to the corner of the room. Turning the head to the right. Chin to shoulder. It's very subtle sometimes. You might not be able to reach very far to start with. And then we're going to start giving the brain something else to do. We're just going to alternate arms. So reach the left arm, come back to the centre gently, reach the right arm, come back to the centre, and keep doing that movement, using the breath. Breathe in as you reach to the side. Feel how that helps to lengthen away. Breathe in as you reach to the side. Breathe out as you come back to the centre. Settle before you go again. Don't just keep rocking back and forth. If you're reaching if your arms by your side, then you just squeeze your shoulder up to your ear very gently. It might be a couple of centimetres, especially if you're a frozen shoulder person and it's difficult to lift the arms at all. Just alternating arm reach. Once you've got the chest movement and that feels okay, then start noticing your rib cage at the side and the movement that it's doing. Notice how it connects into the waist. You might have a lot of movement in your pelvis, you might have none. You might be rocking, you might be sliding. Just have some awareness that you have a pelvis. And this is affecting down the side of your body doing this movement. And then we're going to start looking at the pelvis. Keep the arms moving. And then the next time you reach your left arm up into the corner, I want you to reach your left foot down into the bottom corner. So your right side of your pelvis will come up towards your right rib cage. Along the floor. It's not going up in the air. Come back to the centre, reach the right arm away and reach the right foot down to the corner of the room or down to the end of the room. So you get some lengthening on your right side and your left pelvis will come up towards your left shoulder. It might be very subtle, you might have to work hard to feel it in the first instance. You might just be concentrating on the lengthening side, but eventually start concentrating on the shortening side. So my right arm, my left leg move away, and then the left side shortens because of that movement. And you can emphasise it a bit more by squeezing into the waist muscle on the opposite side, which will allow the opposite side to lengthen, vice versa. You might need to slow it down and think about it a little bit to start with. You might have to actively move that hip up towards the ear along the floor. You might have to make it more subtle because it might hurt a bit to squeeze into the waist muscles. Eventually you might start noticing that movement in the inner thighs, the inner legs, the outer leg. Back muscles, the abdominal muscles. You don't want any bouncing, and you want to be able to do that in a slow way with no bouncing. So slow it right down. Stop when you get back to the centre, so it makes it a bit harder for your brain to have to engage the muscles to make the movement happen again, rather than just bouncing from one side to the other with momentum. You could flex the foot if you want to and see what happens when you do that. Let it go when you get to the middle. Feel how it affects the back of the leg, the groin, the bottom muscles. We're going to do 2 more on each side. Just reaching, noticing. No rush, don't force anything. When you've done your last round, bring your shoulders down slowly and gently, minding your neck, top of your shoulders, resting everything, letting go. Legs a bit closer together. We haven't got any time left. It's all those neck movements at the start. So what we'll do is we won't do our back lift. We'll just go over onto our sides. We'll do a little bit of waist opening and foot lifting. So bringing your knees up, coming over onto your left side. Pillow if you need one under your head. Elbows rested on each other, hands on the side of the head. And then very gently opening that elbow, leaving the lower one where it is, looking over your shoulder. Keep the knees where they are. This is a very simple one to do. It's lovely, especially if you've done a bit of work around the chest and the waist already. Get some nice opening going on. Breathe in as you go back. So right elbow, because I'm laying on my left, my right elbow is just opening across the body, opening the chest muscles. Fingertips are on the side of my head, both sides. And I'm looking over my shoulder as I take it back. My knees aren't doing anything, they're just staying where they are, being a bit of resistance to the upper body. No forcing, no stretching, no pain. Breathe in, that helps you expand back into the rib cage, into the waist, into the belly, lengthening the abdominal muscles. So I'm going to do 2 more of this elbow opening, wherever you've got to, and then we're going to bring the feet in. So as you come forward with the right elbow, lift the feet up, both of them, keep the knees where they are, and squeeze into the abdomen at the front. Give it a good squeeze. Take the elbow down to the floor to get an even bigger squeeze, and then rest everything back down. Your upper body might lift up a bit through the head and the neck, and then take the elbow back. Just feel how that feels after that little squeeze. When you come forward, try and bring the elbow down to the floor. Your head might lift up off the floor, that's fine. Squeeze in under the armpit, into the groin, into the abdomen, and then lengthen out. Let the legs come back down, let them really soften into the floor, but don't lift the knees up. Breathe out as you come forward, breathe in as you go back. Give it a good squeeze. You breathe out so everything can squash down into the abdomen, including the rib cage. Do 2 more. When you've done your last one, then rest onto your side. I think I did 2, but anyway, do 1 more. Make sure everything's soft, nothing's hanging on. Couple of breaths doing nothing, and then slowly come over to the other side. Keep the neck down. Knees at 45 degrees at least. You can bring them up to 90. You'll get more of a squeeze when you lift the legs. Gently taking the elbow back behind you, twisting at the waist, knees down on the floor. Reach the elbow forward. If you want to, you could press the right elbow, shoulder, arm down into the floor. You get a little bit more of a twist. Just be careful, that's quite strong. You don't want to hear anything click. Hopefully not. Oh, unless your body needs it. You might have the chest muscles that are hurting, the back, the abdomen. Breathe in as you go back. Breathe in gently. Don't be a forced breath. You might investigate this another time without a pillow under your head. And rock forward onto the right arm. Take the elbow forward. I'm going to start lifting my feet. Keep the knees together. Squeezing into the left upper side. Bringing the feet down gently. Letting them go fully as I rotate that shoulder back. Looking over the shoulder. Breathing in. Breathing out as I come back. Don't lift the feet till your elbow's gone past the 90-degree angle up into the air. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If the legs are bouncing all the way down, you've probably gone too far into that leg lift. My trauma reflex is on my right, so I've got a tight IT band on the right side today. So I have to watch that when I lift my legs because it's twisting into that pelvis on the left, on the right. So just being mindful of that. So watch yourself, watch around the body. Don't just do this as a kind of a movement with no thought. Drop your attention to different areas. Check out what your feet are doing, what your calves are doing, what your knees are doing, back of the thighs, inner thighs, neck. Not just the moving areas or the obviously moving areas, the active moving areas. So I'm going to do 2 more. When I've done my last one, I'm just going to rest on my side. Do nothing. And then I'm going to come over onto my back, keep my head down. Letting go. Swatting a fly. Scanning up, as I did at the start, along the side of the legs. All the way up, pelvis. Waist, everything as a en route up to the arms, along the arms. I'm just comparing to see if how they're feeling compared to the other arm. Shoulders, neck, head. Scan down the front and the back of your body. Make sure you're taking your inner legs. You haven't got any pins and needles now. Have a little sink into the floor for a couple of minutes. then you can stay there all evening, or you can very gently start thinking about moving a little bit and coming round a bit, feeling the earth and the air, and gently bringing your knees up, having a little bit of a wiggle, rolling gently onto your side, having a little rest there before you think about coming up. Come up slowly when you do, push into your hands, gentle push up, come to sitting, have a little sit before you come to standing, and sort myself out. Any questions you have, let me know. Either leave messages here or email me. You can find the email at the top of my Facebook page. A lot of you have my email anyway for class stuff or booking massage appointments, etc. Stay safe and look after yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow at 5:50 for 6, and we'll carry on with more trauma reflex stuff. The 2 moves that we didn't do today we'll do, or the 1 move that we didn't do today, we'll incorporate that tomorrow, and use those neck movements, keeping your necks nice and long. And take care, and lots of love.